Hi, this is MicAngelo, and today we're going to talk a little bit about mastering. Many years ago, when I used to do mixes for people, I used to send my own stuff out to get mastered to some of the top names in the industry. And they used to do a great job. And then some of my clients would send me mixes they did in their computer, and they would ask me, can you send it out to these top guys to do the mastering? And I said, sure. And I would send it out to the mastering houses, and they'd get it back and they'd say, hey, it's a little too harsh. And I used to say to my clients, well, it sounds harsh to start with. And they said, well, can't you ask the other mastering engineer to not make it so harsh? And I'll ask him. So we would send the mastering back to the mastering engineer. It could be in LA or New York, and it would come back and they still says it was harsh. So my clients used to say to me, isn't there anything we can do to not make it so harsh, to make it as warm as the mixes you do without us remixing it? And that really rung a bell in my head. How can I take my clients' songs that they did a nice mix in their house, and how can I make it sound warm like the mixes I give them out of my studio? So a few of my clients asked me, well, would you just master it? And back in the day, I didn't really want to take on that extra job. But I started to get into it, and I started to use a lot of the vintage gear that I mix on to master their music with. And more than 5 or 6 times out of 7 or 8, I would beat out the very best mastering engineers in the world. Now, these are guys I respect, but what I learned about them is they can get a mastering to sound great if you give them a great sounding file. But if you don't give them a great sounding file, they can get it louder, they can put more bass on it, but they usually don't focus on the texture of the sound and the tone of the sound. And that's something that I've been focusing on my whole life. So after doing a lot of research and spending a lot of time, I started developing a system that I can master on, that I can take people's mixes that do their mixes in the computer to a whole nother level sonically in terms of tone and texture. And I do this by using not only putting their 2-track mix through the SSL console, which I highly modified, but also through a lot of vintage tube limiters, tube equalizers, and even sometimes I'll go to the tape machines to give that nice warm character. And by doing this, I'm able to impart a very musical character into their mastering that most mastering houses don't do. Because back in the day, mastering houses only focused on clean. They wanted their whole system to be clean. I have a different viewpoint on that, a different approach. I use mastering equipment that imparts a very musical personality into my client's music. Because in the end, it's all about the way the music feels and sounds, which is most important. So this is essentially what I do here when I get mixes that are done in the computer or in someone's house. I'm able to shape the sound in a very different way and make it more analogish and warmer.